We move on to our next speaker, who is the Chief Knowledge Officer of Project DigiKnowledge, which is a non-profit organization devoted to increasing the accessibility of highly credible knowledge to people. He is also the licensee, organizer, and curator of TEDx Kids at RS Puram. The first TEDx Kids at RS Puram event happened on the 25th of May 2013, which saw 14 speakers who spoke on various topics. Now, some of his hobbies include collecting stamps, coins, reading books, and building new things. And yes, he even built a wheelchair that can be controlled using an Android mobile. An immense pleasure to introduce to you our next speaker, Vajresh Balaji.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Vajresh Balaji and I'm a learner, a lifelong learner. So I dropped out of school about a month back and several people asked me why and how I did that. Let me answer that today. So several years of schooling made me think like the majority of people that the school was the only place that I could learn. And apart from tuition centers, everything else was play. I didn't like that. I didn't like the thought of that 8 to 5 was the time you could learn to learn at school, and you had to have somebody teach you, because whenever my teachers were absent, it would also default be converted into a PT period. I didn't like to play when I would study, and I didn't like to study when I would play. So this line between play and study, I didn't like that. I wanted, I wish that there would be no line between play and study. So I dropped out of school about a month back and I chose the field of open schooling. So open schooling is not very different from schools. It basically means that you're in a classroom 24/7, or it would also be right if I said that the classroom was within you. The whole world is your classroom and you can learn anywhere. So that meant no teacher, no going to a particular building in a particular area which was called school. I could learn here, I could learn at the hotel, I could learn wherever in the world I want to. I really loved that. But there came another problem. Whenever we are in school, we have somebody, a guiding force, our teacher, who tells us, beta, this is right, this is wrong. But I didn't have anybody who would tell me if what I did is right or what I did was wrong. Even if I did things right or if I did things wrong, I had to think to prove myself that this was right or this was right. I had to figure out things for myself, and there was a difficult in open schooling. So I did what most people would do. I thought of it a little, should I take open schooling or should I stick to school? I would not know if what I do is right, or how would I think? And even my parents were thinking about the same question. But with the adventurous spirit that we all have, I told, whatever it takes, I am going to do homeschooling, open schooling. I have told everybody in school that I am going to do open schooling. Now if I take back my word, everybody in school will laugh at me. Doesn't that happen? See, it happens with everybody. I don't consider this peer pressure or what others think at you. It is just that you give your word, and when you don't keep up to it, you have this guilt in you. So that is what made me stand firm on my decision to do open schooling. And not to say that I also had like a love for open schooling, and I wanted to do it so badly. I wanted to experience it. It was something new for me. So it was something very new for my family, and I was also very doubtful at first whether they will allow me or not. it was his in middle of my examinations that I brought up this point of I wanted to do open schooling. So it was the computer science examination the next day, and you know, I am with severe headache, and my mom's notices that, and she asked me, what happened? Okay, just close your books and go to sleep. Take some rest and you'll be fine. Tomorrow is your exam, you need to study. And I told, okay. And I closed my book. And you know, you spontaneously, without your knowledge, as soon as you close any subject or any book, you get this active spirit and you know that like, okay, come on, let's go home. Yep. And you know, my mom notices it and it stop right where you are. You know, I look and I turn back. You know what? Then my mom asked me, you didn't have this energy when you were opening the book. Now when you close the book, where did this energy come from? Are you thinking of quitting school like that dropouts and everything? Right? Are you planning to do something? What is on your mind? Tell me. I'll not tell anything. Then I softly bring up this point of homeschooling. Mom, it is just a thought. I am putting it across because this is, you know, I feel that it may be good, but I haven't decided anything. Let's take a decision together. And I had opened about, talked to her about my decision of homeschooling and everything. And to my surprise and shock, my mom understood. She's the best mom ever. And next, we need to convince my dad. So my mom assured me that as soon as dad would come home, three of us would sit together and we would discuss. We did it, and both my parents agreed. Now my parents convinced my grandparents and they agreed. And the next day, we went to school. Me and my dad went to school. And we went straight to the principal's office. So what, seeing, you know, my dad and me, I am a good student. So, you know, any principal, she would be shocked. She was like, Vajresh, why didn't you write the exam? Why haven't you come for the exam? Why are you here? Why is your dad with you? She asked me this. And I bring up this point. Ma'am, I want to take TC from the school. I want to do homeschooling. And she was shocked. She was shocked. And she couldn't believe that this is coming from a person who was considered like the gem of the school or one of the best students in the school. And you know, my father and myself, we had to convince her a lot, and we had to explain it to her, the decision why I wanted to quit school. And I also had to assure my father and my mother that I was going to continue my schooling. I was going to continue my education. I was not dropping out of education itself. Education is very important. And like other speakers, I don't advise you to completely drop out of school, start a business, start doing stuff. I want each one of you to be in school, to be in a university, to complete your education somehow. So back to the point, all done, open schooling now. Now I'm a homeschooler, and this is there. So right from my childhood, I had somebody, a teacher or maybe my mother, who would tell me what is right and what is wrong. Now came the trouble. You know, a lot of times we have this urge to get knowledge and, you know, stuff. So we want to learn something new and we always tried. But there was nobody to tell it what was right or what was wrong. So do you know how hard it is to learn something new? And if a lot of people have tried this, it is even more hard to find somebody who will teach you that and who will properly teach you that, who will guide you, who will give you knowledge on that particular topic. This question struck me a lot and I wanted to do something. So that is where the rest of my talk is going to be relating to. So right now, let's say that you wanted to learn in XYZ, and like any good internet citizens we all are, what is the first thing we look up to? Google? Yeah. So we look up on Google and like, where do I find, how can I learn XYZ in XYZ city? Who is the best teacher for XYZ in this city, that city, all that we search. And actually, you know, we think that Google mein milega or koi nahi hai. You know, we consider Google as our God, but you know, we all know that, let's say that you open your laptop, your computer, and you wanted to learn something in 1 hour. Let's say that you want to learn, you know, a first few steps of something in a stipulated amount of time. The first site anybody looks up to learn is Google. So we want to learn, go more deep into it, we search stuff on Google. And like any other person, I considered Google, Google mein milega, Google is my God, come on Google, guide me into it. And I dived into it. After some time, I got bored, I couldn't find any result, I couldn't find anything, and I did what people would do. You know, we know all how you use the internet, how search continues. First it was Google search, then it was Facebook, then you know, from Facebook somebody had shared some cat videos and there were a few likes, jumped on to cat videos, and from cat videos I jumped on to Twitter to tweet about the cat videos I have just watched, and from Twitter there were a few pictures that I definitely had to put on an Instagram, and on Instagram I saw this picture, there was a video about this picture and I wanted to watch the video on YouTube, and we jump away and away from the topic, whereas we have to go deep into the topic. We are going into the opposite direction, whereas we will have to come this side. You know, isn't it ironic? So this is something that I had to tackle. When you had to learn something, there has to be a constant source, and there is also one more place, Wikipedia. You know, people may shout, you know, Wikipedia, dude, if not Google, Wikipedia, man, you have everything on that. And Wikipedia, yes, you have everything on that, almost everything, but do you really feel that if you read a single page on Wikipedia or even few pages, will you get the knowledge that will really let you go into the topic? Of course, exploration is necessary, but you need to have basics and you need to understand what is given on Wikipedia. So, attending such events, that is also a way to learn. You can interact with a lot of people and learn. That is how I did it. I first jumped on from Wikipedia, and if I didn't understand, I would go on to several events, you know, chase people and ask them questions till they gave up and they finally answered them. And I used to run after people for days and days, you know, use any media possible. I used to tweet to them on Twitter, comment on Instagram, message on Facebook, comment on Facebook. I used to mail them and, you know, ask every question to them, whatever I had. I made sure that my doubt was cleared no matter what. Now, what about others? I'm done. I have to do something for others too, right? Because this is a society, I'm taking from the society. It would not be good if I don't give back to the society which I've taken from. And I thought about a majority of the people. A majority of the people, they do not have the resources to go and, you know, ask people. They do not know how to ask, and, you know, they might feel that like in any classroom, you know, will I raise this doubt? It may sound silly. He's such a big person, XYZ, dash, dash, dash. So I built a non-profit organization. A non-profit organization where instead of you going after the experts, the experts come to you, and not to your house, but to your computer. You know, Project DigiKnowledge is a non-profit organization. It's an online portal where we have experts from different fields, whereas you can ask them questions and they would be, happy to answer them for you. And let me tell you this. I don't charge anything. So anybody, anywhere in the world, they can ask questions. And you may wonder, why will he have to answer my question? Doesn't he have different work? And I had interacted with several experts on this. I went to several events and asked people questions. So if I build something like this, would you be willing to answer their queries? And several people replied, yes, I want to do that. I want to transfer the knowledge to the next generation, what the previous generation has given me. I don't want that to remain with me. And now it has become so simple. The concept of knowledge sharing has become so simple that it can be done sitting in your home. You don't need to go to anybody and approach anybody to know something. People will come to you, and the sharing of knowledge has become so simple, like sharing a chocolate or not. It's more easy. Thank you.